Hi you guys, I'm back today to do a video on our sleep training with our little girl. She just turned 8 months old, so she's definitely ready to do sleep training and start sleeping in her crib. Yes, up until this point she has been sleeping with my husband and I. And I know they recommend sleep training or moving to crib between 4 and 6 months old, but I just wasn't ready. I just wasn't ready at that point. I just felt like she was too little and too far away, and I honestly really enjoyed sleeping with her. I made a few notes in my phone here, that way I could reference those. The first thing I wanted to touch on was why we started sleep training and why we kind of chose to do it at this point instead of earlier. She has become super mobile in the last 4-ish weeks, but definitely in the last 2 weeks. Like, we'll get ready for bed and I usually would lay her down and feed her a bottle, and she'd literally put her pacifier in, roll over, and go to sleep. And the last couple weeks where she started crawling and really moving around, if she doesn't think it's like time to go to bed, she drinks her bottle and then she's like ready to go. So she'll crawl all over the bed, she'll scoot all over the bed, she'll roll around, she'll laugh. She just has a great time, which is okay. But when it's bedtime, we're all tired, and I know other moms out there, like, quit time is quit time. So that was kind of my why for the sleep training and getting her into her crib, was we kind of had to figure out a different routine because she wasn't falling asleep anymore in our bed. I don't know, I read a lot of different methods out there as to how you can sleep train your babies and when to do it and how to do it and stuff like that. And I watched a lot of YouTube videos obviously about it, and the first time that I tried to kind of do sleep training with her was probably maybe a month ago, and I didn't really do a lot of research about it. I just decided I was gonna kind of get her sleepy and put her in her crib and kind of see how it went. And obviously she like immediately started crying, and that made me sad, so I went and got her and didn't never do it again. She was kind of sick in between there, so when she was really sick and had a fever and was up every hour or two, I decided that it would just be better to keep her in our bed with us. So we did kind of take a little bit of a break, but then when she got feeling better and stuff like that, I did decide to go at it again. And the first thing that I would recommend is to start with naps. Don't start with bedtime. It's a little bit too big of a transition, I think, for them. And, you know, she is sleeping through the night, and so it was kind of a big chunk of time for her to be in her crib. So I would totally recommend starting with nap time. And, you know, if you decide to start on Monday, go ahead and start with that first nap time. Also mentally know that, one, they're going to cry, and it is okay. They just don't like it. They're not comfortable with it, but make sure they're fed, make sure they're comfortable, make sure they're not too hot or too cold, and they've got, you know, a pacifier if they like it, or a blanket. They recommend not using blankets. We use the Aiden and Anais blankets. They're really breathable, and I'm okay with her having one of those. And she's always slept with one. So just make sure that they're as good as they possibly can be. And then what we did is I laid her in her crib and I fed her a bottle because she is used to drinking a bottle before bed. Some people will go against that and say you don't want to put eating and sleeping together, but that's what works for us, so that's what we do. So I'd feed her a bottle and give her a pacifier as soon as we were done with that, and I would kiss her and sing her a song sometimes, and then I would leave. And I would wait anywhere between 10-ish minutes, 10 to 15 minutes, and yes, she cried. Yes, she cried. And it honestly breaks your heart, and I think I thought about going and getting her every like 30 seconds. but I decided that some things aren't as easy as others, and it was just going to take a little bit of effort and time. So I didn't go and get her, and so we did 2 naps that way. They weren't as long as they usually were. She didn't sleep as good as she usually did. When she would fall asleep, she'd wake up and whine and kind of fuss and cry, and they were just kind of rough, and that's okay. That night we did do the crib. She fell asleep after crying for a while, 30 or so minutes, and I check on her every 10 or 15 minutes, and they say not to pick them up when you go check on them, and I did a couple times. I would always put her back down and kind of just go from there. But that first night that she slept in her bed, she slept there until about like 3 a.m. and then she was up on her hands and knees. She was awake, she was unhappy, so I did go and get her and put her in bed with Trevor and I, just so we could kind of finish the night out with sleep. The next day we did naps, and they were also a little bit rough that second day. Cried, wasn't happy. They weren't as long or as good of naps as she usually took, and it was kind of hard to do. But that second night, we were actually out kind of late that night, so when we got home, she was super duper tired, and that was probably really good. We went ahead and did our usual jammies and bedtime stuff, and I did go ahead and just put her in her crib. I fed her a bottle. She rolled over. I put her pacifier in, and she was out in 2 minutes, and I was like, are we there after 2 days? That night she slept all night. She usually wakes up about 6:30 or 7, so that's about when she woke up, and I went and got her and brought her in our bed and gave her a bottle, and she fell back asleep for a couple hours, which is kind of her normal, and I'm okay with that. She did start teething in that time and is getting ready to pop a tooth. So there were some nights in there where she would come and sleep with us, but I was able to put her back in her crib for naps, and even pick right back up from the crib, and she did fuss a little bit, but she would go right down to sleep. Now she will go right in her crib and go right to sleep without any issues. So I would say it took us probably about 3 or so days to sleep train, 2 to 3 days, but it definitely wasn't as bad as I thought. The only thing that I wish I would have done differently possibly is started earlier. I think they are okay to sleep in their own beds at a younger age, even though I loved sleeping with her. It also was really nice for Trevor and I to have a little bit of time just together. It'd been 8 months, obviously, since we had been just him and I together, and as a couple, and as a young couple and as parents, you just need a little bit of time. I know there's lots of methods out there. Some of them don't like to let your babies cry at all, and I get that. I hated it. I absolutely hated it. But I think it's okay as long as you're not leaving them, putting them down and just completely leaving them in there and not going and checking on them. Our pediatrician also did say that the way that we kind of went about it was what he would have recommended to do. It's not the easiest thing, but it's worth it, and they do get it, and they will get the hang of it, and it'll be just fine. So if you guys have any questions about sleep training or different things like that, definitely leave them in the comments below, and I will try to get back to you. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you aren't already, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye!